Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Snam 2015 third quarter results presentation. Today's agenda will be structured in two parts. First, I will start by outlining the main highlights of the 9 months and the recent developments. Antonio will then focus on the financial results for the first 9 months in more detail. At the end of the presentation, we will be happy to answer any question you may have. Let me start by outlining the main financial highlights. In the first 9 months of 2015, we maintained our strong track record of delivery with a remarkable increase of around 6% in net profit, demonstrating the robustness of our business model. The results of our solid operational activity, demonstrated by a constant and sound level of EBITDA, were also supported by ongoing debt optimization initiatives, as well as the increasing contribution of our international activities. Furthermore, our strong operating cash flow generation fully financed overall CAPEX and the dividend payment for the full year 2014, ensuring a level of net debt under control. Net debt stood at 13.7 billion euro at the end of September, substantially in line with the level of September 2014. We continue to be strongly committed to maintaining a solid and efficient capital structure. Let me now provide you with a quick overview of the gas demand in Italy. In the first 9 months of 2015, gas consumption totaled 47.7 BCM, up 8.6% versus the same period of last year. The growth was due to the increase accounted both in the residential and thermoelectric sectors, only partially offset by a lower consumption in the industrial sector. Gas consumption in the residential sector was up by 10.6%, reaching 19.3 BCM. This was mainly due to the harsh weather condition during the last winter compared to the same period in 2014. In the thermoelectric sector, gas consumption was up by 17%, mainly driven by the significant reduction in hydroelectric production, down 10.6 terawatt-hour, due to the rainfall coming back to a normal level compared to the unusual heights reached in 2014. A positive boost also came from the 2.4% increase in the electricity demand. These positive factors were only partially offset by the increase in the electricity production from renewable sources, mainly solar and wind, up 2.7 terawatt-hour, as well as the increase in the net import of electricity. Gas demand in the industrial sector decreased by around 2%, 0.2 BCM, as a consequence of the declining trend throughout the period in the chemical, construction material, and iron metallurgy activities. Finally, gas injected into the network for the first 9 months of 2015 was up 5.8%, 2.8 BCM, compared to the same period of last year, since the growth in gas demand was also matched with higher withdrawal from gas storage. That's all from me. I will now hand you over to Antonio, who will discuss our first 9 months consolidated results in more detail.
Thank you, Carlo, and good afternoon, everyone. We are pleased to report a positive set of results for the first 9 months of 2015. Net profit grew by 2.9% to 888 million euro, in spite of a slight reduction in EBIT due to the 35 million euro one-off pension fund provision, which I will talk about a bit more later on. Growth overall was primarily driven by a reduction in net interest expenses and by the positive effect of the cancellation of the Robin Hood income tax. Adjusted for the non-recurring provision, net profit amounted to 912 million euro, an increase of 5.7% compared to the same period in 2014. Total revenues amounted to 2,748 million euro, an increase of 100 million compared to 2014. Regulated revenues, net of pass-through items, rose by 68 million euro, up 2.7%, broken down across the different business lines as follows. Transport revenues increased by 22 million euro. The positive contribution from investment carried out in 2013 equal to 57 million, and the positive impact of 8 million due to the growth of gas injected into the network were partially offset by tariff adjustments of around 43 million. Distribution revenues grew by 43 million thanks to the consolidation of AS Torino starting from July 2014, worth 32 million, and of Acam Gas starting from April 2015, worth 9 million euros. On a like-for-like basis, the revenues level confirmed the substantial stability of the distribution business. Storage revenues increased by 4 million euro, a positive result in the context of the new regulatory framework that allows us to be confident in a level of regulated revenues at year-end broadly stable. Other revenues increased by 8 million euro, primarily as a consequence of the disposal of non-operating gas inventories in the transport business, 22 million. This positive effect was partially impacted by the lack of revenues recorded in 2014 as a result of contractual agreements between Eni and Stogit in connection to the Legislative Decree 130. Moving to operating expenses, total cost amounted to 640 million. Net of pass-through items, operating costs totaled 522 million, showing an increase of 79 million compared to the same period in 2014. Controllable fixed costs increased by 26 million euro, mainly due to the consolidation of AS Torino and Acam for 12 million euro, and a decrease in the amount of internal costs allocated to investment activities in the distribution business, 27 million. This increase was partially mitigated by the ongoing cost efficiencies achieved across all businesses over the first 9 months. Other costs totaled 96 million and were impacted by a non-recurring pension fund provision of 35 million euro in the distribution business. This provision is connected to a new law approved in August 2015, which requires additional contribution to be paid in the medium to long term. Finally, the 20 million euro growth in the non-regulated activities cost is mainly due to the disposal of gas inventories already mentioned discussing revenues, with a positive impact on margins of around 2 million. EBIT adjusted for 35 million, one-off pension fund provision, amounted to 1,507 million euro, a decrease of 21 million, down 1.4%, compared to the same period in 2014. This was mainly a result of the 68 million euro increase in regulated revenues, net of pass-through items, offset by the 26 million euro increase in controllable fixed costs, and the 53 million euro increase in depreciation and amortization, higher than the organic depreciation trend due to the changes in the distribution business perimeter, 18 million, in the technical lifetime of sub-metering assets in the distribution segment, around 4 million, and also as a consequence of the important amount of storage assets that entered into operation in 2014. Adjusted net profit in the first 9 months of 2015 was 912 million euro, recording a 5.7% year-on-year growth. In addition to the previously discussed impact on adjusted EBIT, further optimization in the financial structure resulted in a reduction in the cost of debt to an average of 2.9%, causing a decrease in net interest expenses of 24 million euro. result includes an increased positive contribution from the international activities, up 55 million, partially offset by consolidation effects related to AS Torino, down 71 million, including 51 million euro of non-recurring items accounted last year. The reduction in income taxes of 68 million is primarily due to the positive effect of the Robin Hood tax cancellation. Turning to the cash flow from operation amounted to 1,666 million euro and includes an increased contribution from international associates that produced a cash inflow of 104 million euro in the first 9 months of the year, 120 if we also consider the Italian affiliate. The significant cash flow from operation fully financed net investment of 844 million, resulting in a positive free cash flow of 822 million. Cash flow from operations benefited from a positive change in working capital of 138 million euro, driven by the structural effects of tax payables in the third quarter. Cash absorption from net capex in Italy amounted to 870 million. Net financial investment made a positive contribution of around 26 million related to the reduction of Snam stake in TAGF worth 84 million, partially offset by the acquisition of Acan Gas worth 46 million and tax price adjustment 14 million euro. Free cash flow of 822 million in the first 9 months of the year financed almost entirely the 2014 full-year dividend payment of 875 million, resulting in a net debt at the end of September staying broadly in line with the December 2014 level. Finally, looking at the balance sheet, net invested capital amounted to 20.9 billion euro, essentially in line with 2014 year-end, mainly as a consequence of net capex realized in Italy, partially offset by asset depreciation, the reduction of stake in TAGF, the change in working capital, and the one-off pension fund provision. Thank you very much for your attention. We are now pleased to answer any question you may have.
Thank you. If you would like to ask a question at this time, please press the star or asterisk key, followed by the digit 1 on your telephone. Please ensure the remote function on your telephone is switched off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Once again, please press star 1 if you wish to ask a question. We are taking a call from Cosma Pansaki from Bernstein. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for taking my call. I have 3 questions. The first one is on the evolution of gas distribution tenders. So we have seen some timid steps towards the start of the gas distribution tenders, with municipalities and the government starting to make the initial steps to find an agreement. In this context, when do you realistically think at this point that the process will start? And do you expect any further delays in the process compared to what you originally had in your strategic plan? Secondly, looking at your press release this morning, there is a mention of the State Council rulings against the transport tariffs for 2014-2017. Is there a risk stemming from this ruling for Snam revenues? And if yes, what would be your estimate of that, and when do you expect that we will have visibility on that? And finally, regarding your expansion abroad, we have seen your memorandum of understanding with SOCAR. You have expressed also your interest for potentially acquiring Statoil's stake in the TAP. Could you please update us on the next steps in this disposal process? And what criteria would you use to value these assets, also based on the still uncertain outlook, I would say, for the Azeri gas exports? Thank you for taking the questions.
Thank you. For the first question, I can say that despite the current regulation set the publication of a significant number of tenders in 2015, with penalties for local authorities that had not accomplished, right now only one area has published a very partial tender with the declared purpose of avoiding ministerial sanction. I can say that considering the recent developments, we remain confident that by year-end, the beginning of 2016, we'll see the first call for tender. We still expect that the total length of the process will last 4 or 5 years. So in our business plan, we consider the possibility to take part to 10 tenders in roughly around 10 tenders in 2016. For the second question, for the Consiglio di Stato against the delibera of the Italian regulator, we understand that the ruling of Consiglio di Stato refers to the mechanism to set the tariff and not to revenue, and therefore to cost allocation methodology among network users. We do not expect impact in our transmission revenue. For the third question, we first of all, an update. We confirm our interest in evaluating our entry in the TAP pipeline. In case, I repeat, some of current shareholders would be available to sell their stake in the company. Currently, there is no public information regarding the potential seller. It's clear that the development of the South Corridor is key for the consolidation of the Southern Europe hub, and the TAP is a key project in that respect, sponsored by SOCAR, which is a key player in the new gas supply reaching EU from the South Corridor. There is I can say that we are in the early stage of the project, and we will have more visibility once and if our involvement in the project will evolve. As regard the MOU signed with SOCAR, signing the MOU, SOCAR and Snam are focused on sharing their expertise and best practice in the construction and operation of facilities necessary for the transport of natural gas from the Republic of Azerbaijan to Europe, with the aim of further, let me say, strengthening diversification and security of gas supply to Europe. We signing the MOU, we set the cooperation on the evaluation of initiative for the development of the Southern Gas Corridor as a new major route for gas flow to Europe. Our aim is not only to link the Italian network to the new TAP project, but to create all the conditions to transfer to the reverse flow which are in place starting from 2018, the gas supply to the center of Europe.
We are now taking the next question from Javier Suarez from Mediobanca. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. It's Javier at Mediobanca. I have also three questions. The first one is on your balance sheet structure. Obviously, from the 1st of January 2016, we should see a reduction in the allowed return on RAB and an increase in the net debt to EBITDA for the company. So the net debt to EBITDA for the company now is around 4.9 times. I just question myself if you can give us a latest update on which is a level of net debt to EBITDA with which you feel comfortable from 2016 and through the period 2016 and 17 maybe. And linked to that, and in light of this likely reduction in the allowed return on RAB, which is your latest view on your firepower to participate in the next auctions for gas distribution or new gas distribution areas in Italy? So the link between the net debt to EBITDA and then the firepower that the company may have to play a role on consolidation. The second question is a follow-up on the TAP project. The company has been very clear on potentially being interested in joining this project. Can you give us an idea or your thought on which could be your cost of capital considerations for entering into this project? Because obviously this is not a fully regulated asset, has a component of low risk but not fully regulated. So I just question myself how the company looks at the cost of capital while eventually putting their money in a project like that. The third question is related to TIGF. I had been reading on the Spanish press that the government is very keen to increase the gas interconnection quite significantly in the period that goes up to 2020. And while the first phase would require limited investment, what the European Commission and the Spanish government has been mentioning is that there could be significant capex for implementing the second phase of the upgrade, and that should be passing through also the strengthening of a TIGF network in southern France. Could you give us an update on potentially which could be the opportunity for TIGF there? Many thanks.
For the first question in relation to the leverage, I have to say that as you know, the leverage we are used to comment is the debt, the ratio debt to RAB and affiliates. It was 52% at the end of last year. It will be the same level at the end of this year. We confirm the expectation to have a level always below 55% in the next 4 years plan. And for commenting your consideration, which will be the capacity of the company to sustain the participation of Italgas to the next auctions in the distribution sector, we have to reiterate the fact that for two reasons we think that our balance sheet will be well in a position to support this growth. First of all, the investment we expect are well distributed over the time, therefore there is no any pressure on that. And the second point, which is very important, is that we are not talking about a greenfield project, and therefore we will immediately earn benefit. We will have the benefit immediately of the cash flow from the increased perimeter and distribution. So we don't see a problem. We also only see opportunities for the participation of our group to the next process for the auctions in the distribution sector.
For the second question, as I said, we confirm the interest in evaluating our entry in the TAP. Today we are not involved, and we need more visibility to answer your question. I think the project will evolve, and we can give you more granularity of the project during the strategic presentation next March. Today we don't have all information to give you some data or some information of the project. For TIGF, along with GRT Gas and Enagas, is evaluating the best technical options regarding the realization of the overall infrastructure connected to MidCat, also with the Spanish and French regulators. With respect to the IGF project, we are at present considering a first step of investment that could be estimated around 300 million euros. The high-level group, which is set with the coordination of the European Committee, the high-level group supported by European Committee on MidCat is ongoing, and we expect some realistic result of the activity by the beginning of 2016, with some final decision in the development of the MidCat project.
Thank you.
We are now moving to Harry Wyburd from Merrill Lynch. Please go ahead.
Hello, thanks for taking my questions. I've got three, please. So firstly, just coming back to a question that was asked earlier about your balance sheet capacity to participate in gas distribution. I may have missed it, but I don't think you put a number on it, and I know in the past you said about €1 billion. So could you confirm whether that's still the case, whether you still think you've got €1 billion of balance sheet headroom to spend on gas distribution? And then second question, when you sort of weigh up whether to invest in gas distribution, which you mentioned has basically a 0 time to EBITDA, versus the potential investment in the TAP pipeline, which may have rather a longer time to EBITDA, how do you compare those two investment opportunities, and which one do you think is the most attractive? And then finally, on the new A10 bids, you mentioned that there were going to be 10, or you expected there to be 10 tenders coming up in 2016. Should we expect that you will participate in all of those tenders, or will you be selective? And if you're going to be selective, roughly how many will you participate in? Thank you.
As far as the first question, I confirm that the interest of the company to increase its market share in the distribution sector up to 40%, that has been already discussed in the previous conference call, is related to an additional investment of around 1 billion, 1.3 billion. And therefore, the comment I try to give in relation to the capability of the balance sheet to support this growth is related to this level of investment. As far as the second question, which was related to the how we compare different projects, different risk, and and therefore different return, I think that we have already given the capability of the company to execute M&A transaction also abroad in the previous TIGF and TAG deals. We will comment the next deal when the next deal, if the next deals will occur.
And then on the final one, which is on the A10, the 10 tenders next year, and how many you are going to planning to participate in?
Yeah, you have to consider that in our estimate of 10 tenders, we have to consider that after the publication of the call for tender, there is a time of 6 months to collect the data. And that is the reason why we expect the realistic starting from the tender process not before June 2016. So will be in the second part of 2016.
And would you be able to comment on how many of the 10 you would participate in, just to give a sense to your strategy here? Will you be trying to participate in most of the tenders that come up, or are you going to be selective?
Yeah, it's clear that our strategy we announced is to take part to the tender, creating the synergy we have today. There is the reason why it's not so clear today where the call for tender will be carried out the beginning of 2016. We will evaluate all, let me say, the tender, which gives us the possibility to consolidate the market, maintaining our profitability in the distribution business we have today with Italgas. So it's no, we have analyzed namely and consider the geographical position of the future tender. There is no visibility today. We are waiting the call for tender to understand where there is the best options and where we can consolidate the market without risk in terms of profitability.
Very clear. Thank you very much.
We are now moving to Mehul Mahatma from Berenberg. Please go ahead.
Hi there, good afternoon. This is Mehul Mahatma from Berenberg. I think some of my questions have already been answered. I have one more question. Could you please provide us with an update on the potential LNG project in south of Italy? What is the likelihood of this going ahead, and what are your expectations for remuneration and investment? Thanks.
Today there is no news in terms of the LNG. We know today we have an LNG project in south of Italy which obtained the preliminary authorization. Is the LNG of Porto Empedocle, but there is no news in terms of operators who intend to invest in the LNG. I can say that one new LNG project, one new LNG plant is in the energy strategy set by the government, but today, frankly speaking, we don't have visibility when the final investment decision will be taken. As regards, our LNG plant, which is in Panigaglia, we launched a feasibility study regarding the potential utilization of the terminal for the so-called small-scale LNG services, and we expect to complete the feasibility study in the March, April 2016 to evaluate the investment we have to define to update our terminal, improving the small scale LNG services. But today there is no news in terms of new LNG plant in Italy.
Thanks.
The next question comes from Jose Ruiz from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just have one question. When you are considering all this memorandum of understanding with SOCAR and the Southern Corridor, how and potential involvement in TAP in the future, how do you see all this news flow, or what do you think about all this news flow regarding the expansion of Nord Stream 2, considering that they could be adding another 55 BCMs in an already oversupplied gas market in Europe?
First of all, we have seen different position in terms of new supply to Europe from Russia, Turkish Stream, starting from the South Stream, in part of Turkish Stream and Nord Stream. Anyway, I think in the medium-long terms, we need to consolidate in Europe the two important hubs, North of Europe and South of Europe. There is the reason why we consider the South Corridor, which is tough today, but in the future could implement and could bring gas from other sources. You know, there is some discussion today from Egypt, Israel, from Turkmenistan. There is the reason why for us, in terms of strategic evolution, it's very important to create the condition of, let me say, hubs exchange, North Europe, South of Europe. If the gas will come from Nord Stream, anyway, you have to consider that we need to supply the central south of Europe and the eastern country. So in this case, our position today with a tag which linked the two hubs, Italy and Baumgarten, could be an important evolution in terms of new supply to the eastern country through our pipelines. So there is no. I don't think that the Nord Stream, only the Nord Stream supply could jeopardize the creation of hub in south of Europe.
Thank you.
The next question comes from Olivier Van Dustelen from Exane. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Just need a couple of questions on my side. The first one was regarding the pension provision that you had to take in this quarter. I was just wondering that given that you are a regulated activity, if the rules change in terms of pension payments, if that is actually not something that you should, in theory, be able to be allowed to recover from the consumer bill. And maybe in the same topic, there's been some indications, or there's clearly some signs that the corporate tax rate might come down in Italy. I was wondering if you expect that to be reflected in the new allowed return going forward, and then also linked to that one, if you could just give us an update on when you expect the next consultation paper on the WACC parameters to be published. Thank you.
For the second question, the tax rate is a matter that we will discuss. The rules from the beginning of the regulation provides for a recovery of changes in the tax rate, but it's something that will occur for us at the end of the current regulatory period, which is 2018. As far as the first question, we are considering studying the issue. Today, we are not in a position to give you any indication on that.
Thank you. And could you just please confirm that the next consultation paper on the WACC is probably, what we've heard, is probably going to be published either end of this week or next week? Is that the timeline that you also expect?
Yeah, we expect the second consultation document in the coming days.
Okay, clear. Thank you very much.
As a reminder, if you wish to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone. We are taking our next question from Stefano Gamberini from Equita SIM. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just 2 questions, if I may. First of all, in the last call, you underlined that some appeal regarding the criteria to set the redemption value were expected in September for the concession for the gas distribution tenders. What was the outcome, and do you see further legal obstacles to the kick-off the tenders? Because at the end of the day, this is the main item on the table for these tenders. The second, regarding what is your view on the consultation paper issued by the regulator on incentive for investments in the electricity transmission. What I mean is the regulator wants to cancel the extra return on work in progress and also want to cancel they want to recognize the tariffs when the assets come on stream. So what could be the impact for you if this rule will be applied from 2017 onwards, 18 onwards, sorry?
Thank you, Stefano. For the first question, there is no legal obstacles for starting for the tender process. Frankly speaking, there were, frankly speaking, some discussion in postpone the time for some municipality, but today the law is set, is the law from July, so there is no delay in this respect. I think the time is only the time the municipalities need to carry out the call for tender. So we have to consider that the new distribution area is a big distribution area with more than one municipalities. There is the reason why the collecting process for all the plant data and so on is not so, it's not, let me say, easy to speed the preparation of the call for tender. There is the reason why we expect the first call for tender in the first month of 2016, and after we have to wait 6 months to start with the final tender. There is the reason why our feeling is that it will be possible to manage roughly 10 tenders during 2016, starting from the second part of the year. The second question for the consultation document, the criteria in the consultation document, I can say that the treatment of work in progress, I think, is your question. We have already experienced such decision in the storage business. So, as far as the gas transport is concerned, this element, I think, could be implemented not early than in the regulatory period starting from 2018. If at that time the authority will make such proposal, we will discuss together in order to get a final outcome. I can say that we think that for the transmission business, we will not experience a negative impact in our transport business from such a change.
So just a quick follow-up, if I may. So if I understood correctly, what you mean is that the work in progress you have are quite limited compared to your full RAB.
Yeah, it's limited only because in the transmission, the construction of the pipeline, usually our business plan, we put in operation the construction phase each year. So there is it's different for the plant, the storage. We need more time in the construction phase. For the pipeline, there is not the same situation. There is the reason why I'm sure that there is no impact in terms of delay in the put in order our investments.
Many thanks.
We're now taking the last question from Maurice Choi from RBC. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Just one question, if I may. Just back again to your MOU with SOCAR. A few days ago, one of the officials for the Greek sovereign fund mentioned that they want to complete, the sale of the 66% stake in DESFA to SOCAR, and after that, I guess SOCAR will sell 17% stake of that to, a preferred bidder. I'm not sure whether Snam has previously indicated its interest in this, but could you just comment a little bit about whether or not you're interested, whether or not you're exploring, and I guess with that, if you are, what the timing is like on this? Thank you very much.
In our memorandum, I said before, the intention is to share with SOCAR our knowledge, our best practice, our expertise. Let me say to as a consultant, to the SOCAR in the construction process of TAP and the other connections. Allow me to reiterate that I'm not used to commenting press rumors, but today I'm not analyzing the DEPA project.
Thank you very much.
That will conclude today's question and answer session. I would now like to turn the call back to our speakers for any additional or closing remarks.
If there are no more questions, thank you very much for participating in today's conference call, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.